Okay, you learners, we just finished the quiz. Make sure you take your quiz, you learners. 10 minutes when you take your quiz.
Oh no. Hey, like Shuddy,
Yeah.
what's your policy on giving out other people's phone numbers?
I don't have that policy. All right, my policy is I won't do it. All right, quiet, please. Okay, quiet, please. All right, any questions on the homework? I'm ignoring you because I know it wasn't really.
I have questions. I just decided that it was too late to ask them.
All right, on this?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Well, I finished it, but it was all,
Which one?
all of them.
Please. All right, any real questions on the homework? Yes, Abby. Let's take a look at number 14. 14 starts off by saying 5/9 x, so 5/9 times x. And we're told that that equals 65. Hey, I got a fraction attached to a variable for multiplication we need to divide. That's how you get rid of multiplication division. And I said yesterday, when you have a fraction attached to a variable, what do you do with the fraction?
You flip it.
Right, and the math behind that is the fact that we got to divide both sides by 5/9. When you divide with fractions, that is your copied output. The division is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. That literally means multiply by the fraction flipped. So we multiply both sides by the fraction flipped. So we flip the fraction. We write 9/5 on both sides. The nice thing about this mess over here is that it will always cancel. I mean, it's like by the time you get to high school, no one even writes that down because they're like, well, I know what happens. Turns into X. Now you have to write it down. You're learning this. On this side, we're multiplying 65/1 times 9/5. Hey, they both end in a 5. I'm going to do some cross reduction. 5 goes into 65, what, 13 times? Is that right? Okay, it's whatever 13 times 9 is, and you're done. X equals whatever 13 times 9 is.
What is 13 times 9?
Well, we're about to find out. All right. Very quickly. Number 1, x equals 88. Number 2, x equals 39. Number 3, x equals 20. Number 4, x equals 40. Number 5, x equals 1.5. Number 6, x equals 9.8. Number 7, x equals 24. Number 8, x equals 28. And number 9, x equals 60. And then we did evens. 10, x equals 50. 12, x equals 48.4. 14, x equals 117. There's your answer. 16, x equals 35. 18, x equals 40. 20, x equals 105.4. 22, n equals 16 2/3. Did anybody leave as an improper fraction?
I did mine as 16.6.
Repeating, that's fine. And then the last one, 24, x equals 24.5. And that was it. All right. If you took the quiz, I mean, everyone was done in about 3 minutes, right? If you took the quiz, and the only one I looked at was King because he was sitting next to me. He literally just had all the answers. If you chose to ignore my instruction, which is show all your work, circle your answer, I'm taking points off. Right? You'll see why today. You have to do the work. That's how we solve equations. All right. Ace is coming around to pick up the homework. You already have the sheet in front of you, so we're going to get started. Here is the calendar. We just took our quiz. We're going to do 8.5a is solving a 2-step equation. Tomorrow's just a practice on 2-step equation. If you get it today, tomorrow's a bonus plan for you, but some people will need to see this for 2 days to have solid understanding of it. As I looked yesterday and the day before, or 2 days ago, I should say, on Monday, Tuesday, as I looked at your taking that NWEA test, every one of you had two-step equations. Many of you looked at your two-step equation, you're like, I don't know what to do. In my previous, or the other seventh grade class, I had a girl literally break out in tears because she was like, I'm getting fractions as answers. I don't know what to do. That's what happens when we solve equations. Occasionally you get fractions. So today we finally get to learn how to do two-step equations.
No, thank you.
Here is your homework. It is not many. If you think about it, a two-step equation will be what you just did on the quiz, except you will do it twice. You had 8 questions. Each one was a one-step equation. Divide 8 by 2 and you get 4. So you just did 4 two-step equations. You just didn't know it. You're like, no, I did 8 one-step equations. Yeah, I know. You did. You literally did. I'm just saying a two-step equation is just 2 one-step equations put together. Okay? You know everything you need to know about solving a two-step equation right now without me teaching it to you if you just would think about it as solving a one-step equation twice. And if that doesn't make sense to you, it will in a second when I show you some examples. But there's no new rules. I'm not going to say, oh, well, 2 steps are done differently than 1 steps. They're done exactly the same ways you just took on your quiz, or you did on your quiz. Bad verbiage there. Everybody good? Okay, only if it's about this. All right, here we go. Two-step equations. They are called, boy, that's large. They are called two-step equation because look, the variable's on the left side. Now, how many numbers are on the left side? How many numbers are on the left side? There's 2 numbers, right? 3 and 6. Before, like literally 5 minutes ago when you were taking your quiz, we only had 1 number to get rid of. Now we have 2 numbers, as I stated earlier. There's not new rules. You get rid of things exactly the same way. You just got to do 2 steps. 1 step gets rid of 1 number. The second step will get rid of the second number, and you're done. Okay? So, to solve a 2-step equation, we still get the variable by itself. So step 1 is you identify is the variable on the left or the right side. It's on the left side. You ask yourself what's attached to it. Now I have 2 things attached to it. 3 is attached to n by, and the 6 is attached to n by. We got 2. So we do have one thing we got to talk about. Now everyone pay attention. Turns out in algebra you can do anything you want, right? As long as you do it to both sides. There's the smart way and there's the long way. Which one you want?
The long way.
Okay, for the smart way, always, except for one occasion, which you will not see until next year, always, are you listening? When you have a 2-step equation, guess what you're always going to get rid of first?
The subtraction.
We're going to get rid of addition and subtraction first. Are you listening? When a 2-step equation where there's 2 things that you need to get rid of, I want you to always, because it's easier, not because it's correct, right? It's just as correct of getting rid of the 3. I can get rid of the 6 or 3. It's your choice. But one way is more work. One way is the least amount of work. The least amount of work, I'll show you why here in a second, is to get rid of the addition subtraction first. So we are going to, as you know, if you're listening to me, we're going to get rid of the addition subtraction always first when we have a 2-step. You got a 3-step equation. This might not be true. This is almost always the case. Next year, I will show you one very rare occurrence when you might want to get rid of multiplication and division first. But for this year, 7th grade, we're going to get rid of, and almost always through college, we're always going to get rid of addition subtraction first. It's like one little tiny time you don't do it. Yeah.
And once you get rid of the subtraction or addition, it just becomes
It's a 1-step equation, which you just took, right? So let's see how this works. I just said, if you have a 2-step equation, there's 2 numbers to get rid of. Which one are we going to get rid of first? Whatever's being added or subtracted. So we're going to get rid of the -6. How do we get rid of -6? We're going to add 6 to both sides. Okay, it's a 2-step equation. It looks differently than what the quiz is on, but this is what you literally just did, 10 minutes ago. You added 6 to both sides. What's 6 minus 6? So that part goes away. I didn't say the 3 and the n go away, just the 6's go away. And on the right side, what's that turn into?
9.
What?
21.
Okay. See what I did? I did 1 step. You did it on your test or quiz 10 minutes ago. Okay, now it looks like the quiz. Hopefully you know what to do now, right?
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Divide.
Both sides by?
3.
Okay, so to get rid of 3, it's attached to n by multiplication. We do the inverse. The inverse of multiplication is division. We're going to divide both sides by 3.
N equals 7.
Therefore, n equals,
7.
and you're done.
Can I
Okay.
get the homework?
Well, we're going to do a couple. There are a couple I want to show you. But yeah, I told you at the start of class, I said, hey, I'm not teaching you anything new. It's just 2 one-step equations. Get rid of the addition subtraction first. Okay, now I do want to show you something new. We did not do this one step because it would be ridiculous to do it to a one-step equation. What are we claiming the answer is?
N equals 7.
We're saying the answer is 7. Now, especially next year, when you do 3 and 4-step equations, you're going to do 4 steps. You're always going to get an answer, but sometimes you might want to wonder, hey, is that really the answer? I mean, we did 2 math steps. We're wondering if that's truly the answer. I'm going to show you an extra step. Are you listening? It's not required. You don't ever have to do this. However, when you take a test, you're like, well, I want to check my work. The math teacher says, check your work. What do they mean? They mean go to your equations and do something called a check step. A check step is when you take what you think, hey, we did all this work. We found that n is equal to 7. Okay, you're always going to get an answer, even when it's wrong. We're claiming that 7 is the answer. How can we assure ourselves that it is? We're going to plug it back in. This is an optional step. It's called check step. We're going to take the 7 and we're going to plug it back in for n, and we're going to see if it makes the equation true or false. So we take the equation, we plug in 7 for n. See what I did there? All I'm doing is changing n to 7. Let's see if it works. What's 3 times 7?
21.
Minus 6.
15.
13.
That's how we know we got the right answer. Okay? Do you have to do this?
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely not.
You have to.
Oh, by the way, you just took a what kind of test 2 days ago? You took a multiple choice test where they told you A is 7, B is 6, C is 5, D is 1. They gave you the 4 answers. One of those is the answer. You can always, on a multiple choice test for solving equations, take their 4 answers, plug them in and see which one works.
I'd love to.
You don't have to do the actual algebra, you just have to do some evaluation. All right, that only happens in algebra. It doesn't happen in many of the other math problems. But in algebra, especially on a multiple choice test, some kids don't even do the algebra. They just take the answers and plug them in and see which one works. Does everyone understand what I mean by that? Okay, so for some of you, even that you had negative numbers, you could have taken what they gave you as the possible answers, plug them in and see which one works. All right, it's called a check step because check, that's right. All right, here we go. Once again, notice 2-step equation. The variable is on the left side. What's attached to it? What's attached to the variables?
5.
And
P.
2. P is not attached to P.
Yes, it is.
Okay. 5 is attached to it by multiplication. 2 is attached by subtraction. Put the cards away, please.
You have to add the 2 to the 18 and then you
Step 1. It is our choice of either to get rid of the 5 or the 2. What did I recommend?
Getting rid of addition.
Getting rid of the multiplication.
So I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, let's get rid of multiplication first because Gavin wants pain. You ready?
No.
What's attached to P?
5.
How is it attached?
Multiplication.
So how do you get rid of multiplication?
Division.
So guess what you got to divide everything by? Elijah, you're not paying any attention. We're going to get a fraction, -2/5. 18 over 5. Thank you, Gavin, for making our lives horrible.
Gavin.
Could you actually do this?
Yes.
Do you want to do this?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
No one wants to deal with -2/5 and 18/5. No one. Even Gavin doesn't want to do this.
I do.
I don't
Now,
even know how.
occasionally, if all of the numbers are divisible by 5, the previous one it was, right? You can get rid of, I mean, anyway, it might make sense, but 9 times, maybe 99 out of 100 times, it is way easier to get rid of addition subtraction first. If you want to deal with fractions, get rid of the multiplication division first. If you don't always, one rare occasion, you won't see it this year, always get rid of addition subtraction first. So how do we get rid of -2?
Add to.
Both sides. 2 minus 2 is 0. It goes away. We don't say cancel. We just say it goes away. 18 plus 2 is
20.
last step.
Divide 5 into 20.
Divide both sides by.
5.
Therefore, we get P is equal to,
4.
10, 4,
and you're done.
3,
Yeah,
4,
dude.
Gavin, please
Four.
stop.
4.
All right. So we get P is equal to 4. Is this harder than a one-step equation?
No.
It's just more steps. It's the same darn stuff. Two-step equations are pretty simple. By the time you get to high school, most high school students do a two-step equation in their head. You're not there yet. I want to see all the work. All the work means I want to see both steps. Most of you probably can't look at the original equation and do it in your head.
I did.
But some of you might, yes. Hurry up. All right, here we go. Once again, you can't really look at it from the start like you could with one-step equations and kind of come up with the answer. That's why we do algebra. First step, where we get rid of the 4 and the 6.
6.
By the way, this is box 1. Let's get rid of the +6. What do you do to get rid of +6?
Subtract 6.
Both sides. So on your papers, -6, -6, long horizontal bar. Hey, grab your pencil, do this. Everyone, grab your pencils and do this. 6 minus 6 is,
0.
you don't need to write 0 because it goes away. I mean, you could write 0, but you don't have to. 34 minus 6. Does everyone have that written on their paper?
These are easy.
Now it looks like what the quiz was on. How do we get rid of the 4? That's what it visibly should look like. Yes.
Why do you have to divide both sides by 4? It's just one extra step.
Yeah, but remember on algebra, whatever you do to one side,
I know, but like.
give me a number.
5.
5. Okay, so 5 equals 5. Hey, let's divide one side by 5, and guess what it now says? 1 equals 5. That's not true. However, if you do the same thing to both sides, you still get an equality. So we have to divide both sides by 4. Not a choice. Okay, final answer, x equals,
7.
and you're done. I do want to see the canceling step right here, that line through it. So we get higher in math, especially when you get to high school, that slash becomes very important. You're like, well, it doesn't seem very important now. It doesn't, but it will in high school. Getting used to canceling things is important. My Algebra 1 students right now are feeling that pain. All right, box 2, here we go. We get rid of the 3 or the 2. How do we get rid of the 2? Subtract 2 from both sides. -2, horizontal bar. 8 minus 2 is, so we get 3n is equal to 6. Going too fast, or are we okay? How do we get rid of the 3? Both sides by 3's cancel. We're left with n is equal to, and we're done. Questions? Last one, box 3. We get rid of the 4 or the -1? How do we get rid of -1? Add 1 to both sides. 1 minus 1 is 0. 19 plus 1 is
20.
So we get 4x is equal to 20. Now what?
Divide by 5.
Both sides. Got to be both sides. The 4's cancel. X equals. Very well done.
The next one's a hard one, right? No.
Box 4, do these all by yourself. They're not hard.
No, there's one where there is.
We're not on box 5 yet, but box 4 is pretty simple. I do too.
I think this is easier than the one step.
I was whenever we did algebra when I was I didn't do algebra until 8th grade. We did algebra, it was a comforting thing because there was nice rules. All I'd do was follow the rules and I would always get to the right answer. What I didn't like was when there was like a word problem and like I didn't know what to do. But if it was just an algebra problem, it's like, oh yeah, give me lots of those because I know what to do. There's no doubt in my mind what to do. Anybody need help? Now, could you make an easy mistake? Absolutely. You do a little bit of bad math, right? It will go wrong. But remember, when you do algebra, you'll always get to an answer. It just could be the wrong answer. There's no indication that it's going to be the wrong answer or the right answer. You always get x equals some number or some fraction. There's other times or other parts of math where you will get a clear indication that you're doing something wrong. This is not one of them. All right, the one on the left, step number 1, add 18 to both sides. 18 and 12 is 30. Divide both sides by 5. I got n is equal to 6. What did you guys get?
N equals to 6.
Second one, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. 9 minus 6 is 3. Divide both sides by 3. I got x equals 1. What did you guys get?
X equals 1.
Are we good on this?
Yes.
All right, let's see some challenging one. Well, they're not challenging. All right. How many numbers do I need to get rid of?
2.
What 2 numbers?
2 and 13.
How is 2 attached to B?
Division.
How is 13 attached to B?
Subtraction.
Are we going to get rid of division or subtraction first?
Subtraction.
Always get rid of addition, subtraction first. So how do we get rid of minus 13?
Add 13.
We add 13 to both sides. 2 plus 13?
15.
15.
How is 2 attached to B?
Division.
Right? How do we get rid of division? Lily. How do we get rid of division?
Multiplication.
What are we going to multiply both sides by?
2.
Both sides. 2 divided by 2 cancels, and we're left with B is equal to
30.
and we're done.
That's easy. Thank you.
One more time. What do we claim the answer was?
30.
Let's do a check step.
Yeah.
We said 30 was the answer. Throw 30 in for B. What's 30 divided by 2? 30 divided by 2.
15.
Minus 13.
2.
It is the right answer.
Can we do it?
Do you have to do a check step, Elijah? Hey, and by the way, you guys, somebody's not in the right spot. I know you. I know all that stuff. I'm saying someone's not in the right spot. Was it Malachi decided he was going to sit on the other side?
Yeah.
Okay. Do that, please. Yeah. You guys just can't. I mean, I'm not saying you're bad. You're saying you cannot resist.
You know what, Malachi?
It's like you guys are magnets.
Malachi's staying this time. He moved last
All right, that'll work. You put the magic of Vea between you both, and then you're both like paying attention.
I'm magical.
Apparently.
I'm magical. Bibbidi bobbidi.
All right. One more. Everybody look at the board. One more. 4 and minus 10. Which one first?
Minus 10.
What are we going to do to both sides?
Addition.
Add 10 to both sides. 6 plus 10.
2
We're not going to worry about this part. I designed this so this would go away. I didn't have to think about this. I mean, I can. 10 minus 10 is 0. But I designed this so that 10 goes away. How's 4 attached? Division. How do we get rid of division? We're going to multiply both sides by. Make sure the 4 doesn't go next to the 4, because then 4 times 4 is 16. We're multiplying both sides by 4, so technically on the left side it's 4 over 1. I'm not a big stickler. If you just write 4, make sure it's next to the t, not next to the 4. But I will show it is a fraction technically. 4 divided by 4 cancels, therefore t is equal to
Big number.
big number.
Big number.
What is it?
It's like 60.
Okay. I agree. Not a big number.
Oh,
All right, box 5. Let's do this. Box 5. Box 5. Box 5. We get rid of 6 or 4.
I don't have 64 fingers.
We're getting rid of 4. I forget which civilization. I want to say it's Mesopotamia. It had a base 60, not 64. Maybe it was 64. I'll look it up. That is, I believe it was base 60. That is why there are 60 seconds in a minute and not 10. Right?
Imagine if it was 10 seconds.
All of our number system is base 10, right? So why is time based on 60?
I used to be like,
Right?
not.
Why don't we just count to 10 and that's 1 minute, right? and 10 minutes in an hour, and 10 hours in a day. If we were base 10, that's what we do. Our time system has all weird numbers, right? There's 24 hours in a day, but there's 60 seconds in a minute. Like, where did those numbers come from? Yeah. All right, we're gonna get rid of the 4 first. How do you get rid of plus 4? Subtract 4 from both sides. 6 minus 4 is?
2.
How do we get rid of the 6? Both sides by 6 times 2. So therefore, x is equal to.
12.
Am I going too fast? Or are we okay?
You're going too slow.
Elijah, sorry. Let's hold off for a couple seconds. We're almost to the 1, and then we're gonna be done. Say again. We do not have a box 5. Did I label them wrong?
It's a giant box.
We have 2
Oh, it's a giant box. Okay, got it. So here's the other one. Clearly, I made it correct on that one, but the previous one, see.
Can we do this one by ourselves?
I got a green one where you're gonna do them by yourself in a second. All right. 3 or 10, which one?
10.
Okay. Could we get rid of the 3 first?
Yes.
could.
It does.
How do you get rid of the 3? So the reason why we choose not to do that first, it's just more work. I got to multiply 1, 2, 3 things times 3, but it would work. We multiplied this by 3 and this by 3 and this. This is why we don't do it. It's messy. But we would get x minus 30 equals 6. It will work. It's just more work. So we choose to almost always to get rid of addition and subtraction first. It's just computationally, it's probably no different, but when you're writing it out, it's a little bit easier. All right, so add 10 to both sides. So x over 3 is equal to 12. Then what? Then what? And how do we get rid of the 3? Both sides by? And 3 times 12 is?
36.
So x equals 30. You got to stop me. And I know some of you are like, wow, I got this. And I had it four examples ago, but it's a whole class. We want to make sure I'm not losing anybody. Yeah.
You did the same on
I did. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the very last thing, which is those ones like we had last night for homework.
They're easy.
Okay, now absolutely 100%, you do not want to get rid of the 2/3 first. You want to know why?
Because of the
You'd have to multiply everything by 3 over 2 from the start. You would get really ugly fractions. So absolutely 100%, get rid of addition and subtraction first. So what are we going to do first?
Add 6 to both sides. Then
Easy to do.
Yeah.
14 and 6.
20.
Okay, now we're going to pause. Josh, how do we get rid of 2/3? Both sides by? No. 3 over 2. Remember? Technically what we're doing is we're dividing both sides by 2 over 3, but dividing by a fraction is multiplying by the reciprocal. In other words, the fraction flipped. So we're going to, as Josh said, we're going to multiply both sides by 3 over 2. This was your homework last night. So we multiply both sides by 3 over 2. Okay, what happens on the left side? Everything cancels. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times n is n. And on the right side, what do we do with the 20?
We
Put
cross
a 1. And we're going to cross reduce 2 and 20. What's the number?
10, 1.
Okay, so 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 20, 10. And 10 times 3 is?
30.
So it's not, okay, it's a 2-step equation. It's definitely more work. Especially on ones like this with the fraction, it's a bunch more work, but it's not an impossible thing to do. Hey, guess what happens if you make a mistake on the first step? 14 plus 16 is 12. Guess what happens? The whole thing, and usually the second step, the number gets really ugly because it was expecting the answer to be 20, not 12. So typically it really messes things up. So if you make a mistake on the very first step, like tomorrow when I call out the answers, and you're like, what? 30? I got whatever, right? You got to check both steps because you don't know where your mistake was.
We have a second box 6, and we're missing the number 10 and all.
I just apparently this must have been done on a Friday night or something.
I get like 7 kudos points now.
I'll give you a kudo point, but not a math mistake thing. I told you, I make that caveat at the start of the year. I say, hey, no formatting. I'm allowed to make formatting mistakes because
Why? Why?
that's less of important as making a true, honest to God calculation mistake. You know, it's like when someone forgets to put their name on their homework, and I don't make them have a permanent 0. Who would I be talking about?
Keegan.
Hey, at least I put
What
my name on
homework?
things.
So I don't hold you responsible for a formatting error. You don't hold me responsible
It
for a
can't be
formatting
Keegan because he doesn't turn in homework.
Ouch, that hurts. All right.
He also doesn't.
Sometimes the truth hurts. All right, here we go. Keegan, recover from that burn and tell me what to do first here. This is box 8.
You get rid of.
Which one am I going to get rid of? 5 halves or 2?
2.
The 2. How do I get rid of plus 2?
Subtract 2.
Both sides. So subtract 2 from both sides. 12 minus 2 is
10.
Okay. Now what am I going to do to both sides?
Divide it. Multiply it by 2 over 5.
He says multiply by the reciprocal. He could have said divide by 5 over 2, and it would have been right. But the real thing we do is we multiply by the reciprocal. So multiply both sides by 2 over 5. The 2 over 5 cancels with the 5 over 2. And on the right side, Jasmine, what happens? Any cross reduction?
Yes.
5 and a 10, right? 5 goes into 5, and 5 goes into 10. And 2 times 2 is. So therefore, the final answer is
4.
10.
and equals 4. Remember, the answer includes the variable. All right, I think we got this.
I think we got
I
this.
really messed this up. Ace, is it 9?
No,
Yeah,
it's
9.
No, I didn't mess it up.
No, you didn't mess any of it up on the back.
Oh, the front I did. All right.
And the
All right, you have 2 problems and we're done. Do these 2 problems.
Done.
Do these 2 problems. Yeah, I messed it up.
That should be a box right there.
Yeah.
And then that would be 6.
Right.
But you made this 6. 7, 8, 9, 10,
I have to
11.
fix that. No, I wanted both of these to be 1 box.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Then it's 10.
I'll fix it for next year.
80,000 points. So I would literally.
I have a question. Do you make these ones?
What do you mean make them?
Do you make these pages yourself,
Oh,
or do
yeah.
you find them somewhere?
That's why they're messed up. If the computer did it, it probably wouldn't be messed up, but since I did it.
Well,
Do you want to know what you should do? You should put your signature at the bottom so everybody
Yeah.
knows your pages.
wait, didn't Miss Emmons get like this thing offline and it was messed up? Or was it-
Sometimes the computer program that I use to generate worksheet, I've very rarely, but occasionally I've found a mistake, but very
Oh,
rarely.
no, this was an article. Or something.
Yeah, well, humans write it, so if there's a human involved, there's always a chance of error.
Typed.
The only time there's not an error involved is when we're talking about, for instance, like the laws of nature, like the law of gravity. There's no error there. You let go of this, it's going to hit the floor, right? Unless there's something in the way.
I have a weapon.
It's just already in. You want to know what I really want to do?
Now, I want you to do these 2, please. You got these 2 done. All right, bring it up here. All right. You're supposed to be doing this box.
I didn't finish.
Well, then finish it.
I'm done with the entire thing.
I only have like 1 plus.
All right, Ben, walk us through the first one, the one on the left.
Okay, so
Everybody else, hush so we can hear Ben.
we're gonna subtract 6 from both
Subtract
sides.
6 from both sides.
Then we're gonna multiply.
Well, what do you get?
0 for the left side and then 6 on the right side.
So what do you want me to write?
0
Yeah, but I gotta write something.
6.
What are we gonna write? Very next thing.
Oh, we're gonna multiply.
Not the next step. What do you want me to write underneath this line? You told me what it turns into. Now tell me what to write.
6 plus.
Absolutely not.
I can do it.
After you do this math, what should I write?
0 and 6.
So you literally want me to write this. Well, then what do I do now?
Then you oh, now you cross out the 6.
How about we write what's left? What's you left with on the left side?
8 divided by 3.
That's what I wanted you to write. So a over 3 on the left side and on the right side? And on the right side?
Multiply it by
12 minus 6 is,
6 times 3.
you're trying to do all the steps at once. So you write your first step, then you write what you're left with. 6 minus 6 is 0. I mean, I know what you weren't saying bad math, but what I want you to write is what you're left with. After we do this step of subtracting 6 from both sides, what you're left with is that. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Now what do you want me to do?
Multiply 6 by 3.
Multiply both sides by
3. And
Then what?
We'll get 8. It crosses out on the 3's on the left.
Okay.
And then you get 18 on the right.
So what do you want me to write?
8 equals 18.
All right, one more time. Do that one. Tell me what to write.
Plus 8.
Both sides. Okay. Now what do you want me to write?
3, 4, n equals 18.
Okay. Now what?
Then we're gonna flip the fraction, so it's
So what do you want me to do to both sides?
we're gonna make two fractions.
Okay, so what do you want me to write?
18 over 1
And
times or no.
yes.
Yes, times 4/3
Both
on
sides.
both sides.
Okay. Now what?
And then the 8 on that side they cross out.
Yep,
Cross
cancel.
reductions.
And then on the right
On
side,
the right side you have
let me get my
cross
18 over 1.
reductions
Yep.
of 18 divided by 3, which is 6. And then 6 times 4 is 24. So 24 or n equals 24.
Yes? Everybody else?
Yeah.
All right. Questions on anything we did today? All right. Quick notes. What was my quick note here? What was my quick note? Why did I have this slide? Oh, yes, I know why. Hey, look at what we get for a final answer. Nothing cross reduces. Everybody looking at the board? So what do we get for a final answer?
40 over 3.
Do not cry over that answer. That's the answer. Right? Expect on a few of them now. They probably write changes to a mixed number. So what? 13 and 1/3. Expect you to get a couple answers that are not very friendly. Like, oh, the answer's 4, 6, or 8. So you might get a couple that are weird. Don't panic. It's just the answer. Questions on anything we did today? Right? 13 and 1/3. And that's it. Pack it up. Now, go to the bathroom. I would hope so. I know a bunch of you probably did. All right. Any e-learners online right now that have a question? No one is online. So, e-learners, make sure you take your quiz. Only 10 minutes. You know the drill. You've taken lots of quizzes. Make sure you take your quiz, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.